What's going on, guys? You're in with Hardy Second. Welcome back to Pokemon Countdown. Today we're going to be doing... What is it we were going to be doing? It's like... I just had it too and I keep forgetting. That's what we're going to be doing. Today we're going to be counting down the top 10 most forgotten Pokemon, in my opinion anyways. And as the years progress and generations of Pokemon have been released, there's been some Pokemon that are just super popular. Charizard, Lucario, Milotic. Why does this list sound awfully familiar? Oh well. But along those super popular Pokemon have slipped some Pokemon that people really just kind of don't really remember, they don't use, they don't stand out, unfortunately. And today, after looking through a list of all the Pokemon, I'm going to count down the Pokemon that when I saw them, I went, oh right, you exist. So without any more delaying, let's get started with number not yet. Guys, remember to tell me your Pokemon list down in the descriptions before, if you could actually think of a list, because if they're forgotten Pokemon, how would you remember to do it? I don't know, this is confusing. Let's get started with number 10. I lied again. Before we get started, I just want to point out that certain points during this list there will actually be Pokemon that are grouped together, like evolutionary lines, so just keep that in mind for later in this, okay? Some Pokemon may be grouped together, just don't fight it, just accept it. Like my hugs. It needs to happen. Now the real number 10, yay! Number 10, I decided to put this option at number 10 because it's technically not forgotten Pokemon, which I do realize breaks this list. More of just overlooked Pokemon, and these are Riolu and Zorua. Now, Zoroark and Lucario are some of the most popular Pokemon of all time, so much so that I actually didn't even know Riolu existed for quite a long time, actually. I was really surprised when I hatched an egg in Diamond, I believe it was, and all of a sudden I had Riolu. What is this thing? I don't even know, it just appeared, and it evolved into Lucario, and I was like, oh, that's so cool! I actually do prefer Lucario over Riolu. I just think Lucario is really badass. I actually kind of prefer Zorua over Zoroark. Something about Zoroark always just kind of ugly and off-putting, while Zorua is just this cute little puppy that I just want to cuddle and hold, and it just makes me so sad that so many people just think of Riolu and Zorua and they just completely throw it aside because their evolutions are just so much more popular. They don't deserve that. It's not fair. Okay guys, Staraptor, Pidgeot, Talonflame, Swellow. What do those 4 bird Pokemon have in common? They're good. Well, Mega Pidgeot, technically. Unlike our number 9 option, Unfezant and the Unfezant line. Now, maybe I'm biased and I just forget this Pokemon line because they're one of the few that I really just don't kinda like. Like, honestly, Unfezant's one of the few Pokemon I genuinely find ugly. It's just... no, keep it away. I like Pidove, I like Tranquil, but just something about Unfezant, man, it's just... no, it's weird. Though it doesn't have a horrible attack stat. In fact, in Generation 6, it actually got an attack buff, making it even stronger than it was before. With that said, I think I found a reason it is often forgotten, because poor Unfezant, as strong as his attack stat is, has absolutely no way to take advantage of it. Remember those 4 birds I mentioned earlier? This is the reason why Unfezant, not Tranquil, is the odd one out. It doesn't even get Brave Bird. It has this huge attack stat and it doesn't get Brave Bird. Why? I think that alone is enough of a reason to know why this line is really just kind of forgotten, honestly. You know what I could really go for right now? A banana. If only I had some kind of like Pokemon or object or something that could just bring one to me whenever I was starting to crave one. Oh, hey, look at this. I actually happened to find one, but with that said, I'm still going to roll with this idea, and it turns out it actually is a thing that exists in the form of Tropius. I'll give you a call later. I can't believe I almost forgot the walking produce section existed, which I guess to be fair is kind of why it's on this list. But seriously, who wouldn't want a farmer's market with them in their pocket? Whenever they're hungry, they could just like, hey, give me food. That'd be the coolest thing ever. I mean, imagine if we were able to breed Tropiuses to do more than just bananas, like a strawberry Tropius, a blackberry Tropius, a pizza Tropius, a chicken Tropius. This is something we should be investing all of our money into, yet for some reason we're like, let's build a wall or whatever. Like, I think a lot of people have seen Attack on Titan. They knows what happened when you build walls. It's not going to end well, when in all honesty, we should just make more types of food Tropius and the world would be a much happier place and we'd end world hunger. And I should be president. Hardy for president 2016. Let's go. getting back to the video games, Tropius is actually a pretty decent HM slave. Like, it gets Rock Smash, Fly, Cut, Strength. It has 4 very essential HMs, especially for its home game, Ruby and Sapphire, that would be very useful. So I don't really know why this one just kind of slipped by everybody else. I mean, yeah, Grovile's amazing and all that, but hello, food, free. Okay, let's play a game and name some popular Fire-type Pokemon. We have Charizard, we have Houndoom, Arcanine, Talonflame, Heatran. You wanna know a Pokemon that probably nobody said just now? Our number 7 Pokemon, Heatmor. I actually was gonna pair Heatmor on this list originally with Durant because they are a duo in game, but decided not to because I feel like more people actually remember Durant than the poor Anteater Pokemon. Heatmor is not exactly really even bad either. He has a pretty decent move pool by Fire-type standards and actually has usable attack and special attack stats. Out of all the Pokemon that are going to be set on this list, Heatmor is probably one of the ones that could really benefit from a Mega Evolution. Adding a bit more speed to his really rather lacking stat, as well as maybe some more power and possibly defenses, could really remind people that this Pokemon is here and he's not to be taken lightly. But for now, it's sadly outclassed by a lot of other fire types, and it doesn't look like that's going to be changing anytime soon. Generation 2 is a very interesting generation. It almost feels incomplete in my mind. Single stage Pokemon like Yanma, Sneasel, Misdrevious, Apom really just seemed weird. Like they didn't do anything, they were rather weak, they didn't evolve, and luckily for them, they actually did receive evolutions in later generations. These Pokemon though, being grouped as our number 6 option, weren't as lucky. Quillfish, Stantler, Shuckle, Delibird, Corsola, Smeargle, Dunsparce, and Sudowoodo. There are some other Pokemon that are single stage that would fit into this list, but let's be honest, I think a lot more people use Skarmory than they do Stantler. These Pokemon would love another chance to get in the spotlight, whether it's by a Mega Evolution, a possible just normal evolution, or as much as I hate them, I guess even a baby form, just to say it's there. Seriously, why do baby Pokemon exist? But really in the end, anything the Pokemon Company could do to remind us that hey, these Pokemon exist and they deserve love too, would be fantastic. This next one makes me sad as our number 5 Pokemon, Elgyem and Beheeyem. Baymax. I love these two. In fact, I used them in my very first playthrough of Black and White, and they're pretty decent. I really don't understand why they're so underloved. They both have a pretty decent special stats as well as having a really wide move pool, and they can really pull off a lot of jobs. They have enough bulk to pull off a Calm Mind set, enough speed to pull off a Trick Room set. They are very versatile, they look super awesome, and just why? Why aren't they popular? But the hipster side of me is saying like, if I can keep the little secret of them actually being pretty decent to myself, I really probably won't complain too much. Now I really don't think I have to point out the fact that I'm a lover of bug-type Pokemon, but in all honesty, as much as it hurts me to say this, they're probably the weakest type in existence. And to be fair, it does make sense. They are bugs, they're generally small, and well, I mean, you can just step on them. I mean, let's think about this. A ladybug versus a dragon, I don't think that's gonna end well. But this brings us to our number 4 Pokemon, the duo of Kricketot and Kricketune. Generation 4 wasn't exactly kind to its bug-type Pokemon. In fact, Yanmega is really the only one that stands out as really usable at all, as sad as that is to say. Somebody out there is gonna be like, well, Arceus bug-type is amazing. Just don't. But as sad as this is to say, this little duo might have actually got the worst of it. Aside from really respectable facial hair, there's really nothing that makes them stand out. They can't quiver dance, they can't really inflect any statuses, and for the most part, they're not really going to be outspeeding anything. In fact, neither of them really has any stat that's even decent. It's like they were set up for failure, and more than anything, that just really makes me feel bad for them. Hashtag save the Kricketums? As we move on to our number 3 Pokemon, I actually have a very serious question for you guys, and I need you to answer legitimately here. Aside from completing the Pokedex and being forced to catch one for the Reggie events, has anyone ever willingly caught a Relicanth? I mean, seriously, it is incredibly hard to find for absolutely no reason, usually just a 5% chance to encounter one. And unlike other really tricky Pokemon to catch like Bagon and Feebas, you don't really get a reward for it like Salamence and Milotic. I mean, I guess it has pretty decent defense, but that's really all it has going for it. I mean, its rareness sort of makes sense since it's like a pseudo-fossil type Pokemon. I I don't really understand how the whole fossil thing works, to be honest. But if the Reggie event didn't exist in Ruby and Sapphire Emerald, there's a good chance I never even would have known Relicanth existed until several years later, and that's definitely a problem. Our next Pokemon on this list, number 2, if you haven't been keeping track, is one that I fully don't understand why people don't really care about. Maractus. It has a really cool design, it has amazing abilities, and I do honestly think it should be water grass type, but I'll save that for a future Pokemon countdown. There is a possibility it's just being overshadowed by its fellow cactus Pokemon being Cacnea and Cacturne, but I can't really think of that as a good excuse. Maractus actually has a very good and usable special attack stat, though it is hurt by a rather very shallow move pool. In fact, it has a lot more physical attacking moves that would really benefit it, so I don't really understand why Game Freak gave it such a good special attack stat when it has absolutely no way to take advantage of it. Sometimes I think Game Freak just wants to make useless Pokemon, like, there's no excuse for that. Okay guys, number 1 is a little bit personal to me, and I actually kind of feel slightly responsible for even somewhat bringing them back to relevance, and these are Phione and Lumineon. As much as I love this duo, I'm actually kind of convinced I didn't know they existed the entire time I played Generation 4. The duo seemed to have been forgotten as soon as Diamond and Pearl were released, and as much as I love Phione, I can kind of see why. In all honesty, there's really nothing that makes them stand out. In fact, I think even Game Freak forgot they existed, as in the Pastoria Gym, a water-type gym in Sinnoh, the region where Phione and Lumineon were debuted, there isn't a single Phione or Lumineon from the gym leader or any of the gym trainers. How do you do that? It's like Game Freak never even gave them a chance, and I honestly think that's a very good reason for why Phineon's going on such a tear now. Well guys, that is going to do it for us today here on Pokemon Countdown. Of course, the same as last week, I will be putting a poll down in the description to see what you guys would like to see me do next. You guys have a few days to vote, so as long as the link is still there in the description or in the comment section down below, you can still vote and have your voice heard. Seriously, if you're watching this, there's no reason not to vote. It takes 5 seconds. You're going to influence what videos you see in the future. Like last time, there was nearly 2,000 of you watched and only like 100 to 150 of you voted. Like, that doesn't make sense. Go vote. It's free. You can impact the world. We could change the world. Hardy for president. Wrong topic. Okay. Still go vote. And after you get done voting, I have 2 videos here you may love watching. The first one is the first episode of my Pokemon Anthology series, where I take a look at Pokemon Red and Blue. And the second video here is actually the first episode of my new series, Quick Attack, where I look at Pokemon that were actually removed from Pokemon Red and Blue. So, Gen 1ers, huh? With that said, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free. With that said, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to show your support by clicking the like button down below. Your guys' support means so much to me as I continue to try to rebuild Team Caterpie to the glorious prominence it once sort of, kind of, was a little bit. We had more people once, so it's kind of cool. But until then, I'm Hardy Tech Yo-Yo. Peace!